Alright, cool. I think we're good. This might be like the most on time I've ever been for this show. But it's still late. But yeah. Hey, what's good, Josiah? I spent literally I had OBS queued up at like 10:20 something. But I debated with myself for like 15 minutes whether or not I should like get the weird Grant Morrison face that I have just reserved in my meme folder and make that the thumbnail for today's episode. Cause it's like the 50-second, it's a 50-second stream, so you gotta do something to commemorate 52. That was good, Arcus. What's good, guys? What's good? But don't worry, I'm not gonna go full schizo today. Not yet. Not yet. That comes later. Are you hyped for the new Doom Patrol? Oh man, the unstoppable Doom Patrol. I'm okay. I'm excited for it by default of it being Doom Patrol, and I like the Doom Patrol a lot. I am worried about it just a little bit. First of all, the art looks fantastic. I think is that Chris Burnham doing the art for the Unstoppable Doom Patrol? I think that's Chris Burnham. Looks like his art. Yeah, so it's Chris Burnham doing the art. I don't know who Dennis Culver is. Let me. Hey, what's up, Devia? How you doing, buddy? Let's see. Might as well just share the whole screen with you, so it doesn't really matter. Alright, OBS, do the thing. Do the thing. Where I can share the screen with people. Please. Please? Please? Why do you fight me on this? Just let it happen. There we go. Alright. So, I'll make this a little bigger. Because that's what she said. And where's my face? Where's my face? Okay, there we go. So the creative team for this book is going to be Dennis Culver, who I don't really know. Let me look into your face. Who is you? So let's see. Justice League Incarnate. I thought it was pretty fun. I don't know Edison Rex. Future State Gotham. I've actually heard was pretty good. Burnouts is a book that I've seen in the store, but like never really like looked into. But so far just all, kind of weird, off the beaten path kind of stuff. So, I mean, yeah. Don't mind me. Just looking at peak. Anyways, oh look, more Jane. This looks like it could be interesting potentially. See, after the events of Lazarus Planet, why is it that the Doom Patrol always has to get a book after a major event happens? Like, you notice that? Like, Grant Morrison's run starts at like issue 19, but like Grant Morrison's run on Doom Patrol starts after like issue 19 during Invasion, or I guess after Invasion. Then like there's another Doom Patrol book that started in like the mid 2000s after Infinite Crisis, and then we got the last Doom Patrol book by Gerard Way. Between one of the Metal series when DC was doing like the Young Animal imprint. So just like, and now we're getting this Doom Patrol series after Lazarus Planet. It's just that's just funny to me. I don't know what like the event specifically has to like do with it, but like I don't know. It's just weird. It's weird and kind of funny. But yeah, I mean, like, let's see. After the events of Lazarus Planet, more people than ever have active metagenes. Okay, so we're just going over the same plot as Doom Patrol after Invasion in 1988. All right, I guess if it ain't broke, just recycle it. Most of the new metahumans have become misfits, shunned and imprisoned by a fearful society. They are hidden away in the dark, lost to a system that only sees them as weapons or guinea pigs. Ticking time bombs, blah blah blah, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. Diffused by the unstoppable Doom Patrol. Alright, well, who's the roster here? Alright, so we got Cliff. I like that design for Cliff. It looks really good. I really like Cliff with the leather jacket. It's furry person. All right, I'll take it. Negative Man in the background. Cool. Always good to see Larry there. Rita is back. I don't think Rita was in the Gerard Way Doom Patrol with Nick Darrington. Was she? Huh. I think this is Crazy Jane right here because I saw a promo image of like concept art, or I guess concept sketches with Jane with a little mask on. I don't know who this is. Probably a new character. I feel like this is like an old character, or I guess a character from like a more recent run, but I don't know. I didn't finish reading the Gerard Way run. I got like halfway through Milk Wars, and I was like, I'll pick it back up after the event's done, and I just never did. I never did. But that book was also like heavily delayed, so part of it was just me like losing interest in the book. But I am gonna finish collecting that in trade. But could be cool. I mean, potential's there. I'm down for a new Doom Patrol book. But hey, what's up, Supreme? How you doing? Toby says, any opinion on the current Flash by Jeremy Adams? I'm absolutely a fan. I think it's great. How do I get rid of the fucking? There we go. Just gonna make my face a little bigger there. But yeah, I'm absolutely loving Jeremy Adams' run on the Flash currently. For me, this is the best the Flash book has been in shit, man. Since the original Flash Rebirth in like 2009, or was that 2010? Holy shit! Still great and very underrated. Like, of all the books that people are reading right now, no one's mentioning Flash, which I'm very confused by. This is the book that every Flash fan has been saying that they've wanted for the past decade and a half going on. All the Comicsgate dudes who were like, why can't we just have blah 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 like in the 90s? Well, kind of have that now. And that's not to make like a political point like towards Jeremy Adams or anything. It's just like, okay, listening to the complaints that like a lot of people like during the whole Comicsgate era had about like, these are the comics I want. Well, here's the comic this is a comic that fits that description. It is just balls to the wall, like pure comic book imagination, and it's about like the Flash and his family, and it's classic superhero stuff. It's great, and those guys aren't reading it. I was just, why the fuck is nobody reading this book? It's great. This is like literally one of the best superhero comics being published right now. No one's reading it. I'm frustrated by that. But yeah, really cool. Really cool. I'm really digging the current run on Flash. Grant Morrison's not coming back to the X-Men. I think Grant Morrison's coming back to do like a podcast interview special, which, I mean, even that in and of itself is some alchemy right there, because Grant Morrison, if the rumors are to be believed, they're just rumors, but if they're to be believed, Grant Morrison did not leave Marvel Comics on the best of terms. So, the fact that Grant Morrison is doing like a whole panel with a lot of classic Marvel artists and writers is a miracle. That is just a pure, that is like the distillation of like the essence of like universal like miraculativity, or whatever the Grant Morrison way of saying miracle. I don't know, I'm not Scottish, but I am doing better now, Supreme. Thank you very much for asking. I still got the Krakoa. I still got the Krakoa in me, but like I should be all right. Doom Patrol are the real true group of freakish outcasts who are hated and feared, not the X-Men. So that's why they'll never be as popular as the X-Men. I have a very crude way of like dismissing the X-Men whenever I just feel saucy, but I sometimes would bring up how the X-Men are oh, what's up, Troy? How you doing, man? God bless you for doing these. I mean, what else am I gonna do? I sit in my house and draw and read comics all day, and I work like 3 days out of the week. I'm not doing anything. And speedy recovery to you. I saw that post earlier on Twitter about everyone at Previous World getting sick. So hey, you rest up. Get well soon. But fuck, what was I saying? I was making a joke about the X-Men. Now they're not really outcasts. Right. So I had a whole thing about the X-Men where this is like my hot take about the X-Men. The reason why I think the X-Men got so popular is because it resonates with teens really hard, especially really nerdy teens who like teenagers inherently have that like, oh, nobody understands me, but like nerdy teens have that to like the nth degree, because like on top of being a teenager, they're also like a dork and no one wants to be around them. So the X-Men just kind of like that speaks to a certain person, right? In the same way that like Superman was like the ultimate power fantasy for poor people in the 30s, the X-Men was the ultimate power fantasy for kids who grew up feeling ostracized by society in like the 80s and 90s. Also, the art was great. But like, I don't know, I have a whole thing. The X-Men don't really feel like they face real problems. Like, that's like my big thing going through a lot of those, some of that Claremont stuff. Maybe this is heresy, I don't know, I'm not a big Claremont reader, but like, my big thing with reading classic X-Men is the stories sometimes just kind of come off like, Kitty Pryde, why are you crying? Me and the X-Men went to the mall and we ran into the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants? Oh no, you got a big fight? Did someone die? No. Toad said that because I'm pretty, I'm not a real mutant. It's like, wow. That fake cry really drew a lot out of me. But I don't know, it's just that kind of stuff where it's like, oh, poor little coddled American baby. Are you sad that you got called out at the mall? Are you sad you can go to the mall? Are you sad you live in your giant mansion? You can complain about people saying that you're like a poser to the minority cause. Like, fuck off. Just a blatant fuck off. There's a little bit of that in there for me. But I still got major love for the X-Men. X-Men Evolution is like still my favorite, like one of my favorite cartoons of all time. Despite the fact that it takes major liberties with a lot of the source material, but it is pulling very heavily from like the Ultimate X-Men, and like a lot of ways, X-Men Evolution is kind of like a PG version of what Mark Miller and God damn it, who was the artist for Ultimate X-Men? Do I have it over there? No, you're buried on the other side of my bookshelf. Let's see. Ultimate X-Men artist. Oh, it's Kubert. Adam Kubert. Interesting. But yeah, Adam Kubert and Mark Miller's like original Ultimate X-Men run. Yeah, X-Men Evolution is like really cribbing from that real hard. But like it manages to make that material like family friendly, which I think is interesting, but still keeps the spirit and tone of, you know, these people are like an oppressed minority. And the show really ramps that up when you get to like season 3, whenever the Sentinel program starts up. Yeah. Oh god, so many viruses out there. Hey man, I went to high school in like the DMV, AIDS capital of the world. When you grow up in that area, you learn to avoid some of the more important viruses. Just putting that out there. Reading comics definitely helped. Take that for what you will. I think it's Arca says, I think it's because major events aftermaths is probably the perfect jumping on point for new audiences and the reason for the publisher to try something new. That's true. I can't like refute that. It just sucks that the X-Men, not the X-Men, the Doom Patrol, I mean they're the same thing, but it just sucks that the Doom Patrol is always like they get like 20, if they're lucky, 20 issues after an event. Give or take another event that happens in between there. But Supreme Omega on Quesada, he saved the Spider-Girl comic from multiple cancellations, yet fans still hate him for one more day. It's not fair. This is gonna be a hot take, but I'm just full of those tonight. But I really do think that Joe Quesada gets way more hate than he deserves. Because if you really look at Joe Quesada's tenure as editor-in-chief at Marvel Comics, he did way more good than he did bad. Granted, the bad stuff really sucks. But the Marvel Knights imprint, that's all him. A lot of the great shit that we got from like Marvel Max, that's all Joe Quesada. The Avengers, like, actually kind of having a more major presence in the Marvel Universe, that's Joe Quesada. Grant Morrison getting kicked off the X-Men, well, that may be Joe Quesada, so double back that a little bit. But, like, for the most part, you know, actually, fuck it. Joe Quesada's the one who brought Grant Morrison in the book in the first place. So, like, yeah, it balances out, you know? So, I don't know, man. Just a lot of great stuff came out under the Joe Quesada era. Marvel getting, like, really good at nailing down trade paperback publication. That was a big Joe Quesada contribution. Not just to Marvel Comics, but to, like, publishing in general. So, One More Day kind of sucks. And it led to, like a 15-year period of Spider-Man comics just sucking. But, like, Spider-Man comics have sucked before. Outside of that, Joe Quesada did pioneer, like, the second golden age of Marvel Comics. Kinda did. So, I really do think that, to a certain degree, like, people should ease up on Joe Quesada. Just a little bit. He did way more good than he did bad in that company. But, I mean, I guess that whole bit from, like, the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie is kind of true. In spite of everything you've done for them, fuck up once and they'll want to stick their dick in your eye sockets or some shit. I don't remember the exact quote, but, like, it's something like that, you know. Just, people are gonna hate you despite how much you do for them, whatever. Fuck, but, like, yeah, that's Joe Quesada. Same with Avi Arad, for that matter. In fact, you know what? I'll go this far. Joe Quesada, Bill Jemas, Avi Arad. Yeah, Avi Arad. Like the punching bag for, like, every Comics Tube YouTube channel who was obsessed with the Marvel Cinematic Universe and hated Sony because they're the evil corporation keeping my Spider-Man from me. Avi Arad helped save Marvel Comics. Bill Jemas is a crazy person, and he had a lot of weird ideas, and he did write Marvel, which is I don't know what the fuck that is. And some of his weird editorial decisions kind of seep through in, like, the Ultimate Universe, but, like, for the most part, Bill Jemas, like, basically, like, one of the architects of the Ultimate Universe, which everyone likes to forget about, which is the framework for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Bill Jemas deserves a lot more credit than, like, some of the shit that people throw at him. So, I don't know. It's just a whole thing where, I mean, I'm not trying to, like, brown nose or, like, bootlick, but a lot of these guys deserve way more credit than they get. And don't get me started on Dan DiDio. Oh, man, don't get me started on Dan DiDio. So it says, fairy person is supposed to be Space Case's cat. Oh, I thought that cat was like the black and white, like, Sylvester cat. Thought so, at least. I don't know. Arcus says, I think the majority just don't know about the Flash because no one's really promoting it. Like, John Kent coming out is worthy of promotion, while the Flash having fun adventures. Who cares? Am I right? That's a major issue with DC Comics publication right now. If I can pinpoint just one thing that really fucking just gets me with DC Comics, Marvel Comics too, but, like, DC Comics has this especially bad. I don't think anyone in the marketing at DC Comics, first of all, I don't think anyone really at DC Comics knows what they're working with. Like, people always make jokes about how DC Comics, movies, television, video games, definitely. But, like, even with their comics, a lot of people at DC Comics, they are the epitome of the dude with, like, just the fucking third leg, just slanging the dude with the tripod, and it doesn't know how to use it. You have the heavy hitters of pop culture, and you don't know how to promote these icons to the what the fuck is wrong with you? What's wrong with you? So that's just the DC Comics issue in general, but like it's just basic shit. Like, hey, you have a really successful, or I guess like critically successful comic book run going right now. You know what would help make it more successful? If you put money in advertising it. You dang dong dingus. Just why is the Flash not being more heavily promoted on like DC Comics' social media? You know? Why isn't Action Comics being more heavily promoted? That's like a major book that a lot of Superman fans are saying fix the book after Bendis kind of did what Bendis did with that book and that character. Chip Zdarsky, superstar writer and artist Chip Zdarsky, of notable Sex Criminals fame and notable Daredevil fame, like the guy who's writing like one of what people consider like the one of the new classic runs of Daredevil. Like, a lot of people are comparing Chip Zdarsky to Frank Miller. Like, people are comparing Chip Zdarsky to Frank fucking Miller. You have that guy writing Batman right now. You're not gonna promote the book. And that's Batman. DC's known for, if you're gonna promote any character, they're gonna promote Batman. You're not even promoting that book. What is this incompetence, guys? I don't get it. I once heard that, like, editors at Marvel and DC Comics, maybe some of the indies too, but, like, primarily Marvel and DC Comics, aren't really editors anymore. They're, like, brand managers. Look, if you're not going to be an editor, if you're going to be a brand manager, at least do your job at being a fucking brand manager. Market the damn book. You have a Twitter account. You got a Facebook account. Probably got a TikTok. Just use the tools at your disposal that are free to do your job and market these books and market these characters. It's not that hard. It's really not that hard. I don't know. That's just the thing that just frustrates me in general with DC Comics. But, like, I don't know. That's just... It is what it is. Supreme says, early 2000s X-Men. I recommend Peter Milligan and Mike Allred's X-Force Ecstatics run. It's a satire of mutants being spoiled reality TV celebs. Alright, I'll check that out. I'm down. I'm game. Bet, let's do it. Wait, Mike Allred did... So, are you saying the current Mike Allred Ecstatics run is like his second stint on the X-Men? Interesting. Mike Allred is not really a guy that I would, like, immediately associate with, like, a book as traditionally, like, edgy as X-Men. I would usually, like, associate Mike Allred with, like, fucking, like, Justice League or Superman or Doom Patrol, you know, something kind of weird, or like Animal Man. But I'm interested to see, like, what he does with, like, the X-Men. No, I scrolled too hard. Fuck. Okay, there we go. Wait. There we go. Troy says X-Men has several phases where it hits the zeitgeist. Yeah, man, I think everything does, but X-Men especially. It's kind of interesting. The X-Men like didn't hit like a major like it didn't speak to the public really until you get to like the late 70s when Claremont is really kind of putting to the forefront what Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, but like later like not Ron Lim, Roy Thomas was trying to do with the X-Men in like the 60s, in the early 70s. Like it didn't click with like the culture until like late 70s, early 80s. And then I don't think it really clicked again to the same degree until you get to like the 2000s. But yeah, X-Men's very fascinating in that regard. X-Men Evolution is the GOAT. Yes! Culture. I love how it's a thing on its own. Only thing it's is missing is only thing is a missed opportunity for me. Cyclops and Rogue should have become a couple. Goth girl falling for the leader is such a cool idea. You read a lot of yaoi. No, not yaoi. Hentai. My mind immediately went to yaoi, and maybe that says more about me. But I mean, no, that is a fun trope. Or like the goth girl who falls in love with like the just the regular normie guy. That's like always like a fun trope to see. But I mean, they kind of set it up a little bit in that show, just a little bit. But the showrunners were like still kind of adhering to that like Scott Jean iconic, you know, the Chad getting with like the Ultimate Stacy kind of pairing. Although they did leave out some like some open ends for a potential season 5, which never happened, but they did leave it out there. Josiah says, I kind of like that there's not always a Doom Patrol series coming out. It does make it all the more exciting when it does happen. I can see that. Makes it more special. It's like getting rated. You know, it's special when it happens. Doesn't always happen, but when it does, it's special. Supreme says, also, Quesada is the one who hired JMS and Paul Jenkins in the first place. And Quesada did allow the best Spidey marriage stories in the early 2000s. Hell, Quesada approved of Fractions to having to hold. Yeah, exactly. Like, Joe Quesada, a lot of good came out under Joe Quesada's watch as the editor of Marvel Comics. So I don't know why people like give that man like so much shit. Or I do know why. It just it feels superficial and kind of like let it go, dude. Arca says Joe Quesada and Avi Arad are like George Lucas in the prequel situation, but now we have Disney Marvel and Disney Star Wars. Hope you're happy, motherfucker. Exactly. Yeah, man. You don't know the devil until he's in your rearview mirror. You pray for the downfall of Christ until you see the arrival of the devil. Basically, that situation. Troy says, it's infuriating thing about comics in general. The market gimmicks, but not the actual stories that are securing readers. People get like so hung up on like hooks that like story and narrative gets forgotten, and it's like, guys, just story is being told. It's fine. Yeah, I don't know. I'm reading Hulk, Daredevil, and Batman, and no one talks about it, which is bizarre because like those are like the top three among the top three superhero books that are coming out right now. But like, I mean, you said it on previous best. I think like a couple weeks ago. Superhero books are like really good right now. It's really funny. It's really telling that like that 2015 era into like 2018, 2019 when superhero comics were at a just an absolute just wet cherry fart on a roller coaster. You had all this like talk, the major influx of comics tubers going like SJW this, SJW that. You put SJW in your title, that means you're a Nazi. The discourse around comics like skyrocketed in that era. But like 2020 onwards, when comics got really, 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 really good, hear that? That's fucking nothing. I guess people are just addicted to negativity, unfortunately. I don't know. But I'm hearing that the Hulk is really good right now. I haven't checked out the Donny Cates book. I had like a very like adverse reaction to it when it first got announced. Cause I was really liking what Al Ewing and dude who's canceled, and I guess we have to echo his name in the halls of oblivion now, but like that artist is really good. But like that run was great, like Immortal Hulk. And then I found out that like the Hulk's like a spaceship now. The fuck? But apparently it's really good. So I'm gonna check that out at some point. Daredevil's been fantastic. That's a book that I'm collecting in trade though, just because Chip Zdarsky is one of those writers where he's doing the soap opera, and Chip Zdarsky just reads better in trade, I think. But Batman I am reading month to month, and that's just been, god damn, dude, like the Batman's fun right now. Like really fun. Oh man, this is great. This is everything I want in Batman. Like I'm one of those weird people where the Batman who's like very kind of like underneath the bridge, my dick is in my ass. Like that Batman who's just like very kind of like Batman. I mean, it was cool when I was like 14, 15, when I was 16. But like, I'm just at a point now where it's like, can I get Batman like going to space and fighting zombies on like the fourth moon of Counter Earth's Jupiter with like Sergeant Rock and like a Bizarro with Superman's brain implanted in it? Like, can I get that? That's really what I want from Batman. Like, the older I get, the more I'm just like, I actually want to see Batman fight dinosaurs with Green Lantern. I want to see Batman. I want to see Batman sword fighting Ra's al Ghul in the heart of a volcano. That's really what I want to see from Batman. That's part of the reason why the Batman by Matt Reeves, it is a technically, narratively, thematically like beautiful movie. It's fantastic on like an artistic scale, artistic level. It's such a wonderful like piece of art that I just said like I was like, this is cool, but like I'm gonna just go back and watch I'm gonna go back and watch Zack Snyder's Justice League, where Batman is like shooting parademons in the Batmobile and fighting side by side with like the Flash, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Aquaman. Like Cyborg. That's what I want to see. And the comics are delivering that like really hard right now. Like Zdarsky's just straight up doing like a more modern, more I guess like quote unquote mature cinematic, that post Mark Miller Ultimates cinematic, widescreen comic style of sequential storytelling take on like Bronze Age Batman. Like, cause literally, what is the plot of the current run on Batman? Okay, so Batman doesn't trust superheroes because powers make him afraid. So he built a robot to not only counteract them, but kill him in case he ever went off the deep end and killed somebody. And now the robot's gone rogue and has completely annihilated all of Gotham and all of the Justice League. And Batman fights this robot on the moon, and then they blow up the Justice League headquarters on the moon. And then the robot shoots Batman with like a multiverse gun, and Batman gets stuck in an alternate dimension where there is no Batman. And then Batman has to figure out how to get back to his home dimension, but this new universe that doesn't have a Batman is actually run by evil rich people. So now Bruce Wayne has to make a bat suit out of hockey pads and homeless people crap, and he's gonna beat up the government, and he's gonna help the homeless people like rise up against the rich people. And all while that's happening, Robin is going to a multiversal planet that's ruled by Toyman to save Batman. Like, it's just cool. It's just like this is the plot of like a Batman Brave and the Bold episode, and I am so with it. I'm so with it. This is everything I like about comic books. It's everything I like about superhero comic books. I love it. Chip Zdarsky's Batman is like goated. I am so down. Yeah, it's so fun. It really is. This is like Allred's third stint on the X books. Really? Oh man. I guess I was out of the loop. X-Men clicked for 30 years straight, 70s to the 2000s. It was the biggest comic for 30 years straight. Yeah, that's like not a small feat. Yeah. I wonder what changed that. I mean, going back to Quesada, that might have been some of the stuff that Quesada did with the X-Men throughout the 2000s. But yeah, no, you're right. Cause it's Gil Kane and Len Wein who do Giant Size X-Men, I think. Either Len Wein or Bernie Wrightson. It's one of the horror guys though. But no, it's Len Wein and Gil Kane, I think. But yeah, so they do Giant Size X-Men in like 1977 or 78 or something like that. And the X-Men is just yeah, because that's then you get Byrne after that, and Claremont. The 90s is when X-Men the 90s is when X-Men explodes, and becomes like the #1 like selling comic in the world, I think, with like 10 million copies sold. Yeah, Jesus. And then Grant Morrison comes on the book and like revitalizes it. Yeah, dude. So X-Men, yeah, 30 years straight. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, man. Really big book, and it did speak to a lot of people. Then it all changed in the early 2000s. Yeah, that's. Well, that's where we can properly, I guess, blame Joe Quesada for that. I never liked Scott with Jean, Scott and Emma forever. 100%. I mean, I like Jean Grey as a character. I mean, I think she's okay. Say that I can say that much. I think Emma Frost is great though. A lot of my opinions on the X-Men though are like extremely colored by Grant Morrison, Frank Quitely's run, and Ultimate X-Men. And neither series are particularly flattering to Jean Grey as a character. Because, like, if you're watching, like, the X-Men movies as a kid or the X-Men cartoons, you're thinking, oh, Jean Grey and Scott Summers, they're supposed to be together forever, and they're the forever couple. And then you read comics. Granted, I'm, like, what, 6 or 7 when I start reading comic books? Yeah. No, I'm like 8. Yeah, no, I'm like 8. I'm 8 years old when I start reading comic books, like, for real. And, like, the first time I, like, really read X-Men, it's Ultimate X-Men. And Jean just, like, 4 issues in, cucks Cyclops with Wolverine. Just... what? What? I thought they were supposed to be together forever. Nope. Okay. And then you get the Grant Morrison X-Men, and like in the first arc. The first arc ends with Cassandra Nova after she's like taken over Charles' mind. Like Wolverine like just goes off into the woods to do his weird lumberjack man thing. Then Jean just visits him in the woods and starts making out with him, and like Cyclops can see them. I really don't like Jean Grey as a character. You know, I'm gonna walk back what I said earlier. I don't like Jean Grey as a character. But a lot of that is just really colored by my my introductions to this character. And the X-Men movies also, like growing up with the X-Men movies as they progress really doesn't help that. So yeah, that's probably another big reason why I'm a major Cyclops and Emma Frost shipper. Comics that I grew up on, plus the movies and comics I grew up on, just threw Jean under the bus completely. So fuck Jean Grey. Dude, fuck Jean Grey. She's a terrible person. She just exists to make Scott's life terrible. I'm just convinced of that. And the more like older X-Men that I read, the character sucks. Supreme says on Bat Books, the Batgirls comic is getting better. Oh, interesting. All right. But you know what gets promoted? Fitzmartin's terrible. You didn't say terrible, but I said terrible. Tim Drake Robin book. I don't feel sorry for Tim anymore. Cass and Steph need more love. Well, it's good that the Batgirls comic is getting better. Still not a fan of it though, or I guess I wasn't a fan of like what I read of it. So I guess I'll check out the trade when it drops. But that's where I'm at with that's where I'm at with Batgirls as far as I'm concerned right now. Zdarsky's Batman is so fun. It is so fun. Oh man, it's great. I love it so much. Smashtronaut made me violently projectile vomit and seizure at first. I don't think my reaction was that bad. You know, I just got one of those erections that inverted my penis to my asshole. That's just my reaction to that. But outside of that, yeah, I don't think my reaction was quite as bad as yours. But I still see your point. but once you divorce it from Immortal Hulk, it's pretty fun. Okay. Alright. I mean, if I can do that with, like, other characters like Moon Knight, I can definitely do that with the Hulk. Shit, man, if I can do that with Batman, like, there are just entire Batman runs I've just completely ignored. And Superman runs that I've just completely ignored. I can kind of go into this, like, blind. I'm willing to do that. Yeah, he's literally pulling from Tower of Babel and Morrison. Oh, yeah, the Zdarsky Batman book. Dude, that's why I love it so much. It's just, it's comics. It's comics, but also it's, like, not afraid of Batman's continuity. Like, I feel like ever since Morrison left the Batman book, every writer after Morrison has been afraid of Batman's continuity and just wants to do their own thing. Scott Snyder straight up just said, you know what? It doesn't matter if you've been reading Batman. Who cares? If you watch the animated series and, like, maybe read Dark Knight Returns, this is Batman. Which, I mean, cool. That's fine. That's fair. But, like, it's kind of weird to go from Morrison, whose whole run is like a celebration of Batman's continuity, to just rated R animated series. All right, I guess. And then, like, Tom King comes on afterwards and does a Batman run that cherry picks continuity and does, like, weird silly stuff with, like, Batman's continuity, but for the most part is, like, just mostly pulling from a lot of, like, modern, like, pop culture stuff. Like, Tom King's Batman is very much pop culture Batman. I'm, like, really kind of, like, sussing in my head right now. And then James Tynion's Batman is just an extension of Scott Snyder's and Greg Capullo's run on Batman. So, like, I don't know, maybe a large part of the reason why, like, I'm so with it. Like, I'm so with it for Zdarsky and Mike Hawthorne, and Jorge Jimenez, who I think is taking a break to do Nemesis, which that's a book that I'm definitely gonna check out and trade. But God bless Mark Miller. But yeah, no, this is like the first Batman run since Morrison, really. It's like the first Batman run in like 10 years, because Batman Incorporated ended in like 2013, to actually pull from Batman's continuity and do something interesting with the character's pre-established history, and then do something new and exciting with that. Like, that, I mean, that's just basic comic shit right there. But, like, the bar is so, it's just down here. It's subterranean at this point. I will take the bare minimum. It's like a woman going into the dating scene going like, well, the sex is bad and he beats me every night, but you know what? At least he didn't try to, like, murder me in my sleep 5 times. That's the bar we're at with this. That's the, well, at least that's my bar for Batman comics. Yeah, Zdarsky's Batman is a sequel to Tower of Babel. It's also not like a zinger against the Justice League Doom movie, but kind of a little bit. Justice League Doom is that movie, like the end of that film, I think it's trying to say something interesting, or like it's trying to say something like, you know, like pat the Justice League on the back a little bit after just giving Bruce Wayne the old reach around for like an hour and a half. But that whole ending line where Superman confronts Batman and he's like, you didn't even see how the voting turned out, and Batman says, well, you know what would happen if I ever went rogue? The Justice League is my contingency plan against me. Which is like, if you spend more than like 3 seconds of thought on that doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense. And Chip Zdarsky in the first issue addresses that. Like, like Superman comes into the Batcave And he's like, so what the fuck was that? Like, seriously, what was that? Why would you do that? That's dumb. And Batman says, I have a contingency plan against myself if I ever go rogue. It's the Justice League. Superman's like, no, shut up. That you're trying to make me feel good, but it's not. It doesn't actually make sense. Because you, with your contingency, just took out the Justice League. So, like, what is your actual plan against you dumbass? I I really like how Zdarsky is, like, doing a sequel to both the Tower of Babel comic as well as the animated movie Justice League Doom. So that's great. I love it. Zack Snyder's Batman shooting parademons in the face. Zack Snyder's Superman. Something in my ass. Lois is my world. I got nothing. I don't mind edgy Superman. I don't. I like edgy Superman. I'm part of the problem, but I like it. I don't know. I will say I really hope for the upcoming like DCU like Electric Boogaloo James Gunn thing that he's gonna do with Batman in the Brave and the Bold. I really hope they keep the characterization of Bruce Wayne from Zack Snyder's Justice League. Not Batman v Superman, but like from Zack Snyder's Justice League. Because in Justice League, Bruce Wayne is just straight up. That is a rated R Adam West. As soon as I started thinking about it like that, like, oh, this is Adam West Batman if he lived in a world of superheroes. I'm down. Keep that characterization. I want to see that version of Batman on screen again. Especially after playing the Arkham games. Like, I'm really having a lot of fun playing Arkham Knight for you guys, and the game is really fun. But just Bruce Wayne is just he's a charisma vacuum. And Kevin Conroy can pull off a charismatic Batman, but just in the Arkham games, he's just a void of personality. Like, he's a brick wall. Like, if you say something to him, he just stone faces like, Talia al Ghul dies in this man's arms, and he just... Identity gets added to the public. Just... Jason Todd dies. Like, I get Batman being, like, peak human perfection and all that shit, and, like, you know, maybe he's mastered the art of stoicism, but I just... Batman should have a little personality. Bruce Wayne is like a person. Bruce Wayne should have like feelings. That's just my big thing with animated, not animated series Batman, but Arkham Batman. Like, Batman in the video game just doesn't have a personality at all. Which is another thing that annoys me with Gotham Knights. Haven't played the game yet, but just in all the cutscenes that I've seen, Bruce Wayne is like very charismatic and actually feels like comic book Batman, and then you just kill him in the first 5 minutes of the game, and then you bring him back as an antagonist boss fight to kill at the end of the campaign. Alright, whatever. On Jean Grey, Madeline Pryor was way better. Maddie was so loyal to Scott, while Jean was a homewrecker who enabled Scott's worst tendencies. Well, you know, I guess they were living up to the ultimate Chad meet ultimate Stacy archetype, even before those archetypes were like invented. No, the archetypes existed, but the names for them didn't permeate until like the internet. But my buddy Jack Genocide, I've been like meaning to like make a video with him. He really wants to talk about like uh Judgment Day, and I'm just not. I'm not. I can't bring myself to read current X-Men or anything related to current X-Men. I just can't. I don't think you guys understand. I really enjoyed House of X and Powers of 10. And then X of Swords happened, and I was like, all right, well, maybe but Hickman's gonna do something with this. This is not the end. And then Inferno happened, and he just says, all right, doses. And my that broke my achy breaky heart, and I don't think I have it in me to read X-Men anymore. But I have heard Kieran Gillen's run is really good on Immortal X-Men. And I did really enjoy what I read of Kieran Gillen's Eternals. I thought that book was great. And I heard that if I really like Eternals, I'd really like Immortal X-Men. So I'm going to check that out eventually. Just give me time. Your boy needs time. I need time to heal. I need time to process. But did you like James Tynion's Batman? No, I did not. To be fair, Cyclops is also a horrible person. Remember that whole Madeline Pryor fiasco where she becomes the Goblin Queen? I have not, because I have not read that material. There's like a whole period of 2000s and 90s, not 2000s, late 80s and early 90s X-Men that I just have not read. 1 second. Oh, I should have muted that, but it's like we're here now. You're just gonna get me unrestrained, unrestricted. But yeah, there's a whole era of the X-Men that I just haven't read. Although it's like very well collected now, so I really should just go back and like read all that stuff. But I think like, is that like the original Inferno, where Havoc is wearing like the S&M gear? Yeah, I mean, I can definitely check that out. With all the continuity problems that DC has, I'm so glad that Marvel never rebooted. I'm in that boat now too. For the longest time, I did wish that Marvel rebooted their continuity with Secret Wars, because it seemed very apparent that that's where Hickman was going, and that's also where I feel like Marvel Comics would like to go. However, I really feel like you'd run into the problem that DC ran into with the post-crisis DC universe, where you reboot that universe and then you have a bunch of writers and artists provide solutions to problems that weren't actually problems in the first place, and then that completely wrecks character continuity for like ever more. So maybe it is a good thing that Marvel Comics didn't reboot, because that's the big thing with DC Comics. Like, you look at all their continuity problems, all of it traces right back to Crisis. All of it traces right back to Crisis. Like DC, I feel like just for the past 30 years, they've been doing nothing, but just trying to double back and say, hey, we're sorry. Here's some things from the pre-crisis universe that you liked, but here's stuff from the post-crisis universe that you liked. Even if these things don't actually make sense when you put them together, but it's like, yeah. Maybe Marvel shouldn't reboot. Arcus says, To me, no, wait, Troy says Punisher is phenomenal. You've been pilling me on that. I'm gonna check that out. I think the first trailer that came out today. So I'm gonna give it a shot. I will actually give it a shot. I just gotta get over that like initial. Dude, I had that knee jerk reaction of seeing Punisher with like the swords and the new logo on his chest. And this is all after January 6th happened. So like the whole rumblings of, well, there were people at the American insurgency on the Capitol who worked the blah 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 blah. They had Punisher logos on, and what does this mean for the Punisher? And it's like, it doesn't actually mean anything for the Punisher, because people who like have that Punisher logo don't actually read Punisher comics. Like 90% of them don't actually read Punisher comics, or probably don't even know that the Punisher is a comic book character. They see the design and go, that skull looks really cool. That's all it is. That's really all it is. But there's just so much like, brain dead discourse surrounding like the Punisher logo and symbol and all that. So like when I saw that they changed the Punisher logo, immediately I was like, nope. And then now he's part of the Hand and doesn't use guns because possibly January 6th triggered the... Nope. I hate this. Don't care. Nope, I'm not doing it. But apparently the current Punisher book's really good, so I'm gonna check that out. Arcus says, to me, the best Batman in outside media is the Batman 2004. Sorry to Kevin Conroy, but Rino Romano's Batman voice was heroic and likable all the way through. While the Batman the Animated Series, we lost him, or lost a lot of his charm in the new Batman Adventures. I'm in that same boat too. Granted, I'm also just that right age. Like I'm 26. I grew up watching the 2004 show when I was math 8. I was 8. So yeah, perfect time. That's also when I started reading comic books. So yeah, no, the Rino Romano Batman, for me, that's Batman to me. Or I guess early years Batman. Also, in a way, the Batman, like the 2004 TV show, turns out to be a really decent adaptation of Bronze Age Batman comics. Like the tone and style and feel of a lot of those stories, it's very reminiscent of Batman comics throughout the 70s. Especially when you get Robin in there and Batgirl, it really starts to feel like Bronze Age Batman comics. And that's not even talking about, the whole Brave and the Bold season with Hugo Strange, but that was fantastic. I also really like how that show didn't just default to the Joker being like the main antagonist. Like, he shows up the most throughout the series because he's the Joker, obviously. But like, no, if you really look at it, Hugo Strange is Batman's arch nemesis in that series. Like, I don't know, really great. I loved it. I really wish we'd get more love for Hugo Strange as a character. He's one of my favorite Batman villains, but I'll take it. Hugo Strange really should be like the next villain in the Matt Reeves Batman films, or I guess like the ultimate Batman villain if that becomes like a trilogy. Because I really think Matt Reeves is gonna go for Hush because he's a Jeff Loeb understudy. Hush is not a great comic in my opinion, but you know what? The animated movie was really good. So yeah, that material can obviously be improved on, apparently, but uh, I just Hush sucks. Hush sucks as a character. But I mean, if Matt Reeves can make it work, Matt Reeves can make it work probably. But I really would like to see Hugo Strange show up in like that, like that specifically, that universe's version of Batman. I think he'd be a really good fit. Arca says, I also like edgy Superman, but Snyder's Superman is not edgy. He's whiny. To have edge, you need to have tragedy and a goal in life, while Clark lives normal life without any real hardship. I can see that. Nah, I agree to disagree. I agree to disagree. I'll say that. Havoc is a better person than Cyclops. Alex was the one who actually cared about Maddie, while Scott dished his wife and son in Alaska. Look, we never said that Cyclops is perfect. But he is the leader archetype. So, Supreme Omega says, Arcus says, in simple, Scott dates a girl. Just because she looks like Jean Grey, because Jean died at the time, but then she came back, and Scott dumps Maddie. She gets mad and becomes a supervillain. Honestly, that's a pretty fair, it's a pretty fair reasoning to become a supervillain. Also, didn't Madeline Pryor have kids with Scott? If Madeline Pryor like had children with Scott Summers, and then Scott just like straight up abandons her after like dead ex-girlfriend who looks exactly like her like comes back to life, that's a dick move. That's a real dick move. Are you guys gonna get me to read 90s X-Men? Because if you do, that would be a feat. That really would be a feat. Although I don't know why I say it like that. Like, a lot of 90s comics are actually like really good. So I don't know. Josiah says, did you ever watch Big Guy and Rusty as a kid? I used to love that cartoon and just found out that it was a Frank Miller comic at first. What? I did watch Big Guy and Rusty as a kid. That was a Frank Miller comic? Are you serious? Hold on. Whoa! Oh, man. Yeah, written by Frank Miller and drawn by Jeff Darrow. Frank Miller did Big Guy and what the fuck? Oh, that was my shit as a child, man. What? That's insane. Oh, man. Dude, you're gonna make me, like, binge watch that show later tonight. Which probably wouldn't be that hard. I thought it was, like, only, like, maybe, what, one season? I don't think it lasted very long. But, dude, that's crazy. Dude, that's really crazy. All the episodes of Big Guy and Rusty are free on YouTube? Shouldn't have told me that. Okay, so it's 25 episodes. Alright. Yeah, I know what I'm doing later tonight. Oh, dude, that's so dope. Oh, man, that and, like, Men in Black, those shows were just... That was my Saturday morning. That was my Saturday morning when I was a little kid. Um, dude, now I gotta see if these comics are available. Please say Frank Miller getting canceled didn't get these comics like destroyed, dismantled, what have you. It's still in print. Oh, dude, it's still in print. Oh my God, yes. Oh, dude. Oh man. Oh. Oh wait, wait. Second edition. Oh man. Okay. All right. Yep, paperbacks still in print. Oh yeah, I'm down. All right, I'm doing this. I'm gonna make that purchase. That's coming home with me. Oh, that is so cool, dude. Josiah, you know what? Pin. I'm pinning that. That's great. Dude, I don't think you have like any idea just how much you made my night. Like, oh man, that's. I'm not like usually a nostalgic person. It's so weird. Oh, that's great. It's awesome, man. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna buy those books. That's my treat. That's my treat to myself. Uh, Supreme Omega on 90s DC. The reason why fans now appreciate 90s DC is because post Zero Hour ironed out a lot of the kinks of the post Crisis continuity. Then Infinite Crisis made things way worse by bringing back the multiverse. Yeah, well, there's also the whole thing with Infinite Crisis just brought back a lot of stuff that didn't really need to be brought back. Like, what if Superman's origin was basically a hodgepodge of the first Donner movie and everything from the Silver Age? What? Well, that doesn't make any sense, because post-Crisis Superman and pre-Crisis Superman are damn near two completely different characters. So there's no reason to... What? And even if that's the case, like, if you're gonna sit there and tell me that, like, the Superman comics through the 80s and 90s and 2000s, for that matter, are still canon, despite the fact that you brought back the pre-Crisis Superman origin and all that, what does the 90s look like with the way in which Krypton is depicted? I don't get... No. Just a lot of weird stuff like that just doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, Supreme Omega says also on Wolverine sidekicks, Jubilee is better than Kitty. I'll hear you out. I'm gonna let you cook. Kitty said the N-word twice. Well, Jubilee was the ideal Robin to Wolverine's Batman. Well, all I'm gonna say is, Kitty probably gets a pass. Kitty probably gets a pass. She does. I mean, she might take that pass a little too far sometimes. What's the issue where Kitty's at a funeral for a mutant child who got murdered, and she just lists off every conceivable racial slur in the English language that there is, and it's like, okay, Kitty, I get you're making a point, sweetheart, but like you really, why do you know all of these? Like, you just have these in your back pocket. Like, what the Kitty Pryde really loved throwing around racial epithets. It's hilarious. And no one's capitalized on that in recent years. Like, like, how come we don't have any current writers at Marvel Comics who just have the balls to just have Kitty Pryde talking to, like, Reverend Jesse Jackson, and Jesse Jackson going, like, Kitty, you can't have people fear-mongering. Kitty's like, you stupid Nick. No, just... we need to bring back racist Kitty Pryde. I mean, she's not racist, but, like, she uses racism as a point. She's making a point with racism. Oh, man. So what I'm really saying is we need to bring Crystal Claremont back into the X-Men again. You just have Kitty Pryde just throw around the N-word everywhere. Oh, that'd be so cool. That's too based. That's too based. The world's not ready for that. The world's not ready for true art. Marvel Comics, hire me. Hire me and I'll write Kitty Pryde and the niggas. I'll do it. That needs to happen. That needs to exist. I want that to happen. Also, I guess, hold on a second. Now I'm on this tangent of thinking about Kitty Pryde. You know what ship Marvel just kind of completely missed on sailing? 616 Kitty Pryde with 616 Peter Parker. This is the whole period where both of those characters are single at the same time. Both of them are educators. Both of them are teen superheroes who grew into, like, kind of, like, train wreck adults. Like, you could have done a lot with those characters. There was a whole Spider-Man in the X-Men book, and no one thought to do anything with that pairing. I just don't understand why no one... I don't know. There's even a whole generation that grew up in Ultimate Spider-Man by now who should, in theory, be working at Marvel Comics. Just no one thought to... Nobody thought to have Peter and Kitty Pryde get together. Alright. It would make a great pairing, though. Just throwing that out there. Any potential editor who's watching this, maybe down the line, possibly, hopefully, Kitty Pryde and Peter Parker would actually make a pretty baller-ass couple. If I do say so myself. But, I mean, Jubilee's cool, but, like, part of my Jubilee, like, bias in terms of, like, you know, my bias against that character is just I didn't like the 90s X-Men show as a kid. I just didn't. Every time this character showed up, she's like, does a mall baby eat chili rats and just shoot sparkles? I'm gonna sparkle you with my sparkle powers. Mall babies and chili fries go sparkle. And it's like, oh my god, get off the screen. Holy, I hate you. I want you to die. I need you to make space for the real Kitty Pryde. Go away. Go. You need to go. You gotta go, lady. I can't stand you. I just didn't like Jubilee as a kid. I did like Jubilee in the post Decimation comics, though, where she becomes like a vampire, like, teen MILF. Probably should stop saying that, but I started saying that when I was like 14, and it just kind of stuck around. And that's basically just when Jubilee became like a vampire teen MILF. Yeah, that's when I started, like, appreciating Jubilee as a character. But by then she was, like, already an adult. So, or I guess adult. I actually don't know how old Jubilee is in comics. I can't tell what ages are in comics anymore. Like, how old's Peter Parker supposed to be? How old's Mary Jane? How old is Cyclops and Jean Grey? Like, I don't. There's a time you could track all this. There's a time where Spider-Man was older than the X-Men or the first class of X-Men. But now Peter Parker's been like just so like stunted as a character. Are the X-Men older than Spider-Man now? I don't know. I really don't know. So like I don't know. It was weird. It's very weird. Arcus says, I say DC should bring back Ultra Humanite to Superman villains rogues gallery. People forget, but Ultra Humanite is actually the first Superman villain who predates Lex Luthor. Yeah, man. So Ultra Humanite is just one of like just a laundry list of really interesting Superman villains that just kind of get thrown to the back burner in favor of Lex Luthor and General Zod, because those are the only two Superman villains that anyone wants to do anything with. But Ultra Humanite's a very fascinating kind of foil because, I mean, popularly, Ultra Humanite is like the big monkey man, or I guess one of the 8 million monkey men supervillains in the DC universe and Superman's Rogues Gallery. But, yeah, dude, Ultra Humanite, his whole thing is like body horror. Like this, like suddenly you're walking down the street and like you get kidnapped and then you don't wake up. You know, like your body is just being used as a vessel for this like decrepit old man who's obsessed with like finding the perfect body. Like that's fascinating. That's so fascinating. There is so much you can do with that character. Especially in a modern age now where people are actually talking about human trafficking and the Tuskegee experiments and medical experiments on like minorities that more people are like kind of talking about now. I guess being open about, because there's all stuff that people already talked about, but like, you know, being more open about now that the internet is what it is, and like we can kind of like communicate with each other about these situations going on now. So like, so much you can do with this character now, but will DC do anything with Ultra Humanite? Probably not. It'll just be thrown to the back burner. And would you like to see more Lex Luthor? I believe. Oh, Nathan. So Cable is Madeline's son. Okay, interesting. Because I distinctly remember like a page from like Age of Apocalypse where Cable dates the clone of Madeline Pryor. Unless I'm bugging, but like, I don't know. There's also some weird like Freudian psychosexual explorations of psychology that makes me uncomfortable when it comes to the X-Men. But like uncomfortable in a good way. Like this is fascinating before I'm disgusted. Although it takes a lot to disgust me. I am a philosophy major, so like you gotta work really hard to disgust me. Like I've read essays from like prominent philosophers through history that really like they are bending over backwards to justify like grape and rareria. I use my Scooby-Doo voice because I don't want YouTube to get mad at me, but like you're rareria starting with a P. And I'm not talking about like, you know, like philosophers from like the 1800s to 1700s. I'm talking like dudes from like the 80s. the 60s and 70s and the 80s, who were like, no, this is fine. There's nothing bad about that. Nothing bad about that. So I've read a lot of really messed up stuff in philosophy. I can handle some of the weird, grosser aspects of of comics. But that was one of the things where I was like, oh, all right, X-Men are getting weird. Nice. X-Men are supposed to be weird. Let's do it. Let's go. Let's go. Who remembers the Men in Black series? It was great from the same creators of Extreme Ghostbusters and the Batman. Interesting. I knew the creators of Extreme Ghostbusters were the same team who did Men in Black, but I didn't know they did the Batman. Does that mean that was also the same team that worked on the Jackie Chan show? Because I know the Jackie Chan show, or I guess Jackie Chan Adventures, has a lot of the same animation team working on the Batman. So that's really cool. They're reprinting Big Guy and Rusty. Okay, bet. Oh, dude, this is gonna be dope. Have you ever read Black Sod? I have not. The art looks phenomenal. I am just not inherently like a noir detective person. I have read noir detective comics. Like I've read the Parker series, or I guess I've read part of the Parker series by Darwin Cook. Darwin Cook is a genius. I just could not get into it for the life of me. I used to think that I was a big noir detective person because I really liked Blade Runner growing up, but then I quickly realized I don't love Blade Runner for the detective stuff. I like Blade Runner because like post-capitalist social decline fascinates me, and the cyberpunk aesthetic is that's my aesthetic. I like it. I really like high tech, low life. I think it's interesting. That's what I like about Blade Runner. Not really the detective stuff. So I'm not really a big like noir detective guy, but I have like looked at a lot of the art for Black Sod, and the art's great. You know, my girlfriend likes Black Sod. Yeah, I should have her on. We could talk about that. I mean, then I'd have to like actually read it, but yeah. Oh, I should do a review for Big Guy and Rusty. Yeah, I bet I'll do it. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna order the comics as soon as the stream ends. So yeah, I'm down. I'm down with that. If you guys want to see that, yeah, fuck yeah. Supreme Omega says there are worse Spidey stories than One More Day. Since past, have you read the John Byrne run where Peter made out with an underage niece of Jonah to cope with his wife's supposed death? John Byrne. John Byrne. Everywhere I turn, and someone's talking about pedophilia in comics. Why is John Byrne's name always on that list somewhere? Why is it always John Byrne? Why does it always have to be John Byrne? John, I love John Byrne. I love John Byrne Superman. I really like John Byrne's art on the X-Men. John Byrne, why? Why are you like this? Why are you like this, John Byrne? Do you know that, dude, my girlfriend's sister showed me a meme of, this dude, acting out what it's like to, like, when you find out, like, your friend's really into anime, and the weeb is like, The weeaboo dude is like, hey man, ain't nothing wrong with an 86-year-old man grabbing a 5-year-old girl's ass, and just like, sir, we have to take you to jail now. I feel like that is John Byrne in a nutshell at this point. Just like, oh my god, why is there so much? We need to check John Byrne's hard drives. We need to check John Byrne's hard drives. I mean, after the whole Gerard Jones situation, he probably wiped his hard drives, but we still need to check John Byrne's hard drives. Oh man. Oh man. Oh wow. Okay, John Byrne. Holy shit. But yeah, no, there are worse Spider-Man stories than One More Day. You know what's funny? I actually don't hate Sins Past as much as everyone else does. I started working on a JMS Spider-Man retrospective, and I mean, this was like 2 years ago now, but when I was reading throughout the entire Straczynski run on Spider-Man, when I got to Sins Past, do you want to know the one thing that hurt that story for me? Just the one thing. It's the fact that Norman Osborn's alive in, like, Marvel continuity at that point. I really feel like if Norman was dead, that story is 1,000 times better. I really think if Norman's dead, that comic is, like, 1,000 times better. Because the whole thing with Sins Past, and Straczynski's run as a whole, really, but the whole thing with, like, the whole Straczynski run in, like, Sins Past is that it's all about growing up and how the older you get, your perception of reality starts to shift. Things that you once saw as constants, things that you once saw as, you know, just flowing like a river. You hit 30 and you're like, that's not a river, that is a patch of broken glass. You know, things that you once looked at when you were like in your 20s or your teens, where you said, oh, you know, this cotton candy is this cotton candy, it tastes a little too sweet. Let me be the connoisseur of cotton candy. And then, well, actually, I'm being a spoiled brat today. I actually don't like cotton candy. You hit 30 and you're like, fucking cotton candies. I can afford cotton candy. You're giving me this for free. Oh my god, I love it so much because it's free. Like, just your perception of reality changes. So, like, Straczynski was really doing a whole thing with Peter hitting his 30s and just things in his life were changing, and his perspective on the past, you know, things might not have been exactly what they seemed. And, like, you can't do anything about it because all these people that, like, leave this hurt in your heart, they're long dead. Gwen Stacy cheated on you and had a baby with your, like, arch nemesis who ruined your life. Well, guess what? They're both dead. There's nothing you can do about it. That's, I don't know. There's something really interesting that Straczynski's, like, going for with that whole run, and Sins Past in particular. Also, can I just say this real quick about Gwen Stacy? Gwen Stacy's not the perfect little, like white woman cherub that everyone likes to paint her as in Marvel continuity and, like, retroactive history. Like, Gwen Stacy she's not Emma Stone in the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies. That's what a lot of people at Marvel would like to idealize her as, but that's actually not who that character was. If you go back and read, like, a lot of those late 60s Spider-Man comics, Gwen Stacy's she's kind of a cunt. She's kind of like a psycho, just like every other woman in Spider-Man comics. And really just everybody in Spider-Man comics at that point, but it's especially the women. Like, I really notice this the older I get. Women in Spider-Man comics, particularly like the Steve Ditko, Stan Lee comics, they're all irrational, crazy people. Like, Aunt May is a crazy person who makes no sense. Betty Brant is a crazy person who makes no goddamn sense and is a pedophile and a maybe. Mary Jane is like a vapid, just like, bitch, shut up. You contribute nothing to this conversation. You just want to talk about partying and doing Molly. That's all you care about. Go away. Liz Allen is just like a scatterbrained. No, that's too flattering. Liz Allen has no brain. She's just some dumb, like just some dumb hoe. Like, it's just Sally Avril's like just mean for no reason. Women in Spider-Man comics are just not presented well at all for like the longest time. But like Gwen Stacy in particular, in her first appearance when Peter and Flash go off to Empire State University, right? And you have Flash Thompson, who's being like the big man on campus. You know, he gets a sports scholarship. He runs into Harry Osborn and not Liz Allen. Harry Osborn and Gwen Stacy. They apparently come from like a private school, like upstate somewhere. And in their introduction, Harry's like the captain of like the whatever team or mathlete rich people club, and Gwen Stacy is like a junior model or something, like a pageant girl or something like that. And Flash Thompson sees Peter Parker just walking across ESU, and he's like, I guess I'll introduce you to this guy that I went to high school with. And Pete just blows him off because he's actually worried about real life stuff, like Aunt May dying for the 4 millionth time, and like the Scorpion wanting to like rip off the top of his head and use it as a toilet while he like watches cartoons, or J. Jonah Jameson continuing to slander him. So just like real stuff is on this kid's mind, and Pete just keeps ignoring them. And Gwen Stacy, who's like a pageant queen or whatever, is not used to men ignoring her. So she takes like a major offense to that, and she has this very like tsundere type personality when Peter like finally like kind of gets all his Spider-Man shit and real life shit settled, and he's like, I can finally just focus on like what's in front of me, and I can be a person now. First thing that happens, Gwen Stacy just slams her fist on his desk and is like, Peter Parker, I like you and I want you, and you need to pay attention to me because I'm pretty. I hate the fact that you're not paying attention to me because I'm pretty. Look at these titties. And just, Pete's like, I'm not used to female attention. Don't hurt me. But just like, Gwen Stacy's, her whole thing is, this boy's not paying attention to me. Obviously, there's something wrong here. That's her whole character for like 4 issues in her introduction. And even after that, she's just like, her personality is girl. And then when other women are around Peter, she is girl who get jealous, and girl who is like weirdly spiteful and kind of mean when she's feeling spiteful and jealous. So like, when Straczynski does that whole retcon where we find out that Saint Gwen Stacy actually wasn't a saint all along, it's like, actually that's not really a big reveal. That tracks. I could I could totally see Gwen Stacy going like, you know what, my boyfriend takes pictures of Spider-Man, and Spider-Man killed my dad. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go bareback on this 60-year-old man who I know for a fact Peter doesn't like, just to spite him. I can actually totally see Gwen Stacy doing that. That does fit her character a little bit. Just throwing that out there. It's my quick hot take defense of Sins Past, I guess. Probably lost a subscriber with that. Let's see. Arcus says, why Kitty know all the slurs? Dude, she lives alongside Wolverine. And I'm telling you, this guy's always says what he thinks. He would swear like a sailor if it not for the ratings. That's true. Although, it's hard to imagine Wolverine using racial slurs. Probably just because, like, Wolverine's been around the world and is so worldly. I don't see him using racial slurs just, like, offhand like that. I just don't see it. Well, who knows? Maybe he does. Maybe Wolverine would just kind of like start fighting like evil sentinels in like Tokyo, and then, you know, what's like one of the junior X-Men that like he mentors in like Wolverine and the X-Men, like Kid Omega, like Kid Omega's like, how do I stop this evil telepath from Tokyo? Just Wolverine channels his inner 1940s DC Comics character and says, "Kid, the best way out of this situation is if you slap a Jap." So I could, no, even saying it out loud, I know Logan wouldn't do that. Logan's not racist. No, he wouldn't. He wouldn't channel like his inner 1940s DC Comics character. He wouldn't do that. No, Logan's not a racist. Logan's a good person. He probably says everything else though. Probably does swear like a sailor though. Oh man, I'm so excited for that Wolverine game. I mean, I literally got like a PS4, like literally just to play that in like Marvel Spider-Man. But like, oh, I mean, it just looks like nothing but like a white box of nothingness. But I did get a PS4. Not PS4. I have a PlayStation 5. And I will be playing that Wolverine game when it drops. Just like I'm going to be playing that Spider-Man game when it drops later this year, hopefully. Although I have an aching feeling it's going to get delayed to 2024. I just have an aching. I don't know. It's a feeling. It's a gut feeling that I have. The game's just going to get delayed. I know it. But yeah, man, I will do more gameplay stuff in the future. Dude, playing Arkham Knight really did make me, like, well, not Arkham Knight, but like the entire Arkham series really did make me want to play more games on the channel. So like, if that's something you guys are interested in, let me know. You know, I'm down. I mean, I might do like a replay of like Marvel's Avengers at some point. Dude, after watching that, like, after watching that Suicide Squad kill the Justice League gameplay, I just flashed back to playing Marvel's Avengers, and I'm like, you know, at least in the Avengers game, the Avengers feel like the Avengers. Just simple stuff, but like, why does everyone in the Suicide Squad just default to gun? You have this very eclectic roster. You're just gonna, what does King Shark do? He shoots people with a gun. What does Deadshot do? Okay, well, he shoots people with a gun. Well, that's Deadshot. Alright, cool. What does Harley Quinn do? Well, she shoots people with a gun. Okay. You know, she has other things at her disposal, but I guess. What does Captain Boomerang do? You know, it's like he's good old classic Silver Age Flash villain. His whole gimmick is boomerangs. What does he do? Gun. He shoots people with a gun. Perhaps I treated you too harshly. Because Jesus Christ, just what the hell, Rocksteady? What are you doing? Why? I don't know. But yeah, I do hope to do more games on the channel. After I finish Arkham Knight, I am probably gonna do like Marvel Spider-Man. But yeah, let's see. Comic Jubilee is better than animated series Jubilee. Comic Jubilee is a badass who fought Sabretooth. Oh, sweet. All right. Give me sauce. Give me sauce. Actually, no. You know, I don't need sauce. Let me look it up real quick. Jubilee versus Sabretooth. Probably give me the sauce like right there. Was it like What If 87? Or is it Adventures of the X-Men issue 7? Oh, Ralph Macchio wrote that. Okay. Alright, well, I guess I'll check it out then. If I can... I mean, I'm sure I can find it in, like, the dollar section of my comic book store. It's probably there. Argus says, I hate Marvel for Kitty leaving Colossus at the altar. She proposes to him, organizes the wedding, saves his life, and then when he says yes, she phases through the ground, leaving the guy alone. Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, that sucks. I don't know why they did that. This is kind of dumb. It's a very dumb thing to do. You build... I don't know. Like, at least with Tom King's Batman, it kind of made sense. Like, with everything he was, like, saying with that character. But, like... it just felt random for Kitty to leave Colossus at the wedding. I don't... this is very random and dumb. I don't get it. What happened to Jubilee's baby? Dude, I have no idea, man. I have no idea. They made a big deal of that baby, like, growing up to be, like an Iron Man Sentinel pilot. And then Death of X happened, and then I just don't remember that baby. Oh, is the baby dead? What happened? Dude, what happened to that baby? Chat, what happened to Jubilee's baby? I have no idea what happened to Jubilee's child. I have no idea. Is someone doing anything with them in, like, the current X-Men books? Anywhere? At all? Because Jubilee clearly ain't being a mom in what is it, Exterminators? We just have, like, it's like the Resident Bimbo book. I love that comic, by the way. Yeah, I love it. It's great. I don't care. It's really fun. Like, it's so vapid. Like it's I'm with it. I'm like there's just a level of like you're breaking the X-Men right now, but I don't care. It's great. Like having X-23 just like pull up with like a bunch of beers going like, let's party, bitches. Just this that's not that character at all, but I'm weirdly into it. I'm weirdly intrigued by it. I can't describe why. I don't know why, but I like it. Also, just like the crass humor of that comic, like, like when they're all ganging up on and like they're bullying Dazzler's like ex-boyfriend. It's like, what are you, some kind of piss baby? You like watching people pee? Got a piss fetish? Piss boy, piss baby, pee boys. That comic is so unhinged. I had so much fun reading it. I don't even know how to review that comic. It's just this comic fun because it's unhinged and makes no sense. But it's unhinged and I'm with it. That's my review of Exterminators. I like it. Arcade says, Beanie Be Real here. You're projecting your ultimate Spider-Man ship with Kitty and Peter. Those characters in 616 have nothing in common. It's like Peter dating Miss Marvel or Black Widow. It's just there. Perhaps. Perhaps. But I don't know. I do think you could have done something interesting with you could have made it interesting. Or the very least, if I worked at Marvel Comics, I could have made it interesting. I could have made it work. I really could. I could have done that. Arca says, so anime lollies are okay? Still Rararia? I'm not gonna answer that question. I'm just not gonna answer that question. I always wonder how Scooby-Doo would pronounce Rararia. Jesus Christ, chat. You guys are insane. I love it. Honestly, the mid to late 90s did more damage to Spidey than One More Day. Reviving Norman is when the flop era begins. Yes. Insanely true. I have a whole theory where I put this out in my my like retcons and reboots video, which I posted like I think 2 years ago now. But my whole thing with Spider-Man in particular is that ever since the 90s, creators, like, there's a whole group of creators that grew up in like the 70s and 80s that get to the 90s and they're like, Spider-Man's weird and unrelatable now because he's married and he's doing all this like old man crap and he's not Spider-Man's supposed to be young and sexy and hip, and this old man who's married and talking about like filing his taxes is not hip and cool and interesting. I want real Spider-Man who's young and sexy. And you get the Clone Saga, you know, they dug up Ben Reilly from like the Clone Saga in like the 70s, and they're like, actually he didn't die because here's what happened. He went on the road and became a sexy Spider-Man, and he's now back and he's the real Spider-Man now. He's gonna be a real Spider-Man. And it's just okay. Then the Clone Saga happens, and then we get what we get with the Clone Saga, And then you get to the 2000s, and Joe Quesada approaches J. Michael Straczynski and John Romita Jr. and is like, "Hey guys, we kind of broke the character Spider-Man. Can you fix him for us?" And JMS and JRJR are like, "Yeah, totally. We can do this. We can do Spider-Man. No problem. Yeah, Spider-Man, no problem." So they do this whole run where it takes Peter Parker back to basics. You have Peter Parker, who is like well into his 30s. That run establishes that Peter Parker's in his 30s. He's getting up there, or I guess up there for Spider-Man. But he's an adult now, and he's dealing with like adult things, and they kind of like do some really interesting stuff with the character thematically through the lens of magic, which, your mileage may vary, but I thought it worked for the story that JMS was trying to tell. And then you get to, like, the post-Civil War era, where, granted, a lot of people just did not like what Straczynski did with Spider-Man, and there's also a lot of people who are just, like, working editorial who their position was, Spider-Man's not relatable anymore. He's not young and hip and sexy and interesting, so we gotta, hey, revolving door of like artists and writers. How about we brand new day this bitch? And like, what if Spider-Man, right? What if Spider-Man? You took this character and you fixed it for us. You fixed it and you made it like readable again. What's your pitch? And then you had all these guys go like, "Oh, here's our pitch. We do." Dan Slott eventually comes on board, does Spider-Man, and he does Spider-Man for about 10 years, and there are a lot of people who love it, and there's everyone else who hates it. So Dan Slott leaves the book. Marvel kind of approaches Nick Spencer and Ryan Ottley, and they're like, "Hey, so we kind of broke Spider-Man. So can you like fix him for us?" And then Nick Spencer and Ryan Ottley take over Spider-Man, and they do this whole run that is like just a huge middle finger to Spider-Man of like the past 30 years. And then they approach Zeb Wells, and they're like, "Hey, that last run ended kind of weird. So we kind of broke Spider-Man. Can you fix him? It's just 30 years." It's 30 years of a new creative team coming on board to fix what the previous creative team broke. That's just what Spider-Man comics have been since like the 90s. They're not telling stories anymore with this character. They're just they're like riding the IP train, and it's just. I mean, the character's effectively, like, narratively and creatively dead at that point. But, I don't know. That's just my take on it. So, basically, Gwen Stacy is more unlikable than Spectacular Spider-Man 1? Absolutely. I like Spectacular Spider-Man Gwen Stacy, though. What? You don't like Spectacular Spider-Man Gwen Stacy? What? Why? She's sweet. She's she's there. On classic 60s, 70s, 80s Avengers, they were more consistent than Bronze Age Satellite era JLA. Oh, oh, you don't gotta tell me twice. I've read that Satellite Avengers era, not that Satellite Justice League era. Oh man, sweet Jesus. Reading that made me just kind of in my head, really start to assess which team is better. Just in terms of like storytelling, narrative history, and all that. I'm gonna give that to the Avengers. I haven't read a lot of Avengers, throughout the 60s and 70s and 80s. But of what I have read, saying it's better than like the Justice League of that era is like saying, I enjoy getting a nice back massage more than having someone shit in my bathtub and force me to like dip my untrimmed like toe and fingernails in it and do the sniff test, because that is exactly the difference between like classic Justice League and classic Avengers. Classic Avengers is readable. Even when it's bad, it's still readable. Classic Justice League is just like, oh, what is happening? This is an insult to my like eyes and my time that I'm spending reading this material. Just not good. Not good at all. Arcus says, the Ultra Humanite now, it's like Get Out movies, but with Superman. Ultra Humanite wants to put his brain in a body and operate a secret ring of transportation of metahuman bodies and organs. That would be interesting. I wonder if DC Comics would ever go along with that. No, they won't do that. It'd be cool, though. Arcus says, loves Superior Spider-Man more than Amazing. Sorry, not sorry. What hell have you wrought upon this world? Why are you like this? Why have you done this? Hey man, at least you're unapologetic with it though. I feel that. I will say Spectacular Superior Spider-Man had a lot of really good art. Giuseppe Camuncoli, wunderbar. Fantastic art. Arcus says, Spectacular Gwen dates Harry only because she wants for Peter to get jealous, not because she actually liked him. And it shows in every scene. That's disgusting. True. But that's just how people are in Spider-Man comics. like people in Spider-Man comics aren't good people. Like, none of these people are like ideal human beings. I would even hesitate to say that they're human beings. They're like parodies of human beings. They're awful. Like, awful to each other. And then they complain about how everyone in their life is awful to them, despite the fact that they're awful to everyone in their life. It's fascinating. Fascinating. I really want to, like, read too deep into it and go, like, okay, how come the Fantastic Four and the Avengers, for the most part, and, like, Iron Man, with the exception of the Hulk. The Hulk is, like, the one exception, but, like, Iron Man, Thor, Ant-Man and the Wasp, the X-Men, kind of, to a certain degree. These are all people who, like, are like, people, and they're, like, kind of good-natured. Spider-Man and his entire cast of characters just, they're like I don't know how to describe them. I don't know how to classify that type of personality. I don't know how to classify that type of person. There's no self-awareness, and they're just assholes all the time. And it's really weird. And some part of me may want to say that, like, there's a commentary on, like, the poor, and how poor people are crazy because they're in, like, a heightened state of, like, terror all the time because they're poor. I don't know. But it's fascinating. It's very fascinating. Even if that commentary is, like, unconscious, or they're unaware of it. It still feels like it's there. I don't know. It's very notable that the poor people of the Marvel Universe in the 60s are all crazy people, and the rich people in the Marvel Universe are like these sophisticated, put together, well-groomed men and women with nice mustaches and all. They have money, and they're affluent, and blah blah blah, and they do the thing, and they're superhero. Oh, I'm a superhero too. I have to. They're put together. They're relaxed. They're people. Poor people in the Marvel Universe, namely the Spider-Man comics, are crazy. All of them are crazy. So to your point on that, I think Spectacular Spider-Man was just doing a really good job adapting Spider-Man comics. I don't know. That's Ryland on that. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, actually, I'm going to call it a day on this one, guys. Wait, hold on a second. Alright, one more chat. This is from Supreme Omega. Here was a reason why DC has been stopping doing reprints of their old stuff, especially the 90s stuff, because the DO complained the 90s material sells better than the recent stuff, so he halted reprints. That's lame. I mean, I don't want to end this on like a sour note, like bashing Dan DiDio, especially because I started this whole stream like praising Joe Quesada, but I feel like they're like very similar in that regard. A lot of really good decisions were made under their tenure, and a lot of really bad decisions were made under their tenure. But I do think the good outweighs the bad. In Dan DiDio's case, did he is the E-52 his thing, his baby? Sure, yeah. I think maybe. But he's also the guy who brought us All-Star Superman by Grant Morrison and Frank Wiley. So, you know what? It evens out. But even then, how much of anything that happened at DC Comics that no one likes is actually Joe Quesada? No, not Joe Quesada. Is actually Dan DiDio's fault? Because there are a lot of creators and editors who, if you ask them, yeah, so why did Dan DiDio do that? They're just going to say, actually, that wasn't Dan DiDio who did that. He was just covering for someone else who did that. He just, since he was the one steering the ship, he just told everyone to, point and laugh at him. Dan DiDio took a lot of bullets for people. That man is, literally, it's he is a walking, Kevlar vest. That man is covered in just, bullets. Because he took shots for everyone. So, there's a lot of stuff that, DC Comics has done in the past, 15 years that I don't like. But I don't know if I can blame Dan DiDio for it, or if it was someone else being a dumbass and Dan DiDio just kind of took the hit for them. I don't know. But yeah, it is kind of dumb that DC is not wanting to reprint a lot of their 90s stuff. Is that why the Caped Crusader and Dark Knight Detective trades fell out of print? Because I didn't finish collecting those, and now they're out of print, and I don't plan on spending $500 on $30 trades. I'm not doing that. I refuse to do that. I'll jump to fucking piracy before I start doing that shit. No. You can suck my $500. That's what you can do. Katie Pride, who was in Paris? Oh yeah. Oh man, Supreme Omega. I feel Jim Lee deserves some of that blame because he hired a lot of his friends at Marvel, like Rob Liefeld. I mean, potentially. I don't know, man. I mean, no one points to Jim Lee with any of these problems. They all point to Dan DiDio, but they were co-editors, so I don't know. Very weird. That's something I would like really have to like look into. But even then, I feel like if I did, I wouldn't get any answers. But I don't know. Still interesting stuff. But all right, I'm gonna call it one right there. Hey, thanks for watching. I'm glad I could actually like, do this on time for once. Kind a little bit, kind of on time. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'm like extremely appreciative that you guys showed up today, and yeah, I will catch you in the next stream, which will be tomorrow. My next stream's tomorrow. I'm gonna probably, hopefully, finish streaming Arkham Knight. I guess like the campaign for Arkham Knight. I'm probably gonna do like individual little videos for the rest of the side missions and the Arkham episodes. I'm definitely gonna do those. Yeah, hey, thanks for watching, guys, and I'm also gonna put up a poll later asking you like what video games you want to see me do Let's Plays of, and I will try to do those within like whatever you choose. I'm gonna do it. I just have to see if technology will allow me to do them. That's the thing. Yeah, until next time, adios nachos, adios.